Okay, so this topic is on the inventory performance index. So for those that are selling on Amazon or have seen this new change, um, basically Amazon is kind of scoring how you're handling your inventory. And they didn't release so much information regarding how it's calculated or what exactly it affects in the long run. But what we do know so far is that coming July 1st, if your inventory performance index score is below 350, or where this red line is, they will limit your storage limits, or they'll lower your storage limits. That's the only thing we know for a fact is going to be affected by this IPI, or performance score. People have been asking if this affects your status for brand approval. They ask if this affects your buy box percentage. They really haven't released that information, how it affects your metrics. It's just basically, for now, it'll affect your storage limits if you're below 350. So what do you do about it? And do you even care about it? How important is this detail? Well, if you click on the little number, it'll bring you to this performance page. Another way to get there is if you go under inventory and go to inventory planning, you'll see the performance dashboard effectively. And they show a little, this little graph here to show where your number is, what your how many points you went up or down in the last 7 days. If you click on show details here, it'll show a little graph, which is not really so useful in my opinion because it really doesn't change much for most of people's inventory, unless you're newer sellers and you're adding new inventory, in which case each piece of inventory holds more weight, in which case then your score will fluctuate probably more frequently. But what they do show are the 4 main categories of what impacts your IPI score. So there's excess inventory percentage, sell-through rate, stranded inventory percentage, and FBA in-stock rate. And if you click on show more detail, they'll show you how many units you have in excess inventory. And what they'll recommend is reduce that excess inventory. So how do you reduce inventory? Well, let's first click on it and see what they recommend. This will actually take you to this next tab over in this performance, in this inventory planning page called Manage Excess Inventory. So we were here before and now we're here. And they'll just show you recommendations of what to do. Well, advertise this listing or create a sale. What can you do to get this item to move more quickly? Because we think you have more in stock than you should. So because of that, we're not penalizing you necessarily, but they're letting you know these aren't your optimal inventory. There are other products that are selling more quickly. These you have too much on. So maybe either reduce them by removing them, create a sale, create an advertisement for it, try to get these items to move more quickly, which will increase your performance score in that category. So that's one aspect. The next one is the sell-through rate. So they basically tell you how many units you've sold in the last 90 days and compare it to the number of inventory you have. So a unit sold, well, divided by the inventory units average. So how much inventory you have at any given moment would be your units inventory average. You click learn more to learn, they have a help page about it. Here, we'll go through this afterward. But for the most part, I don't think this one is as important. It seems like this isn't weighted as heavily as the other ones, but this number will be directly affected by your sales. So the more sales you have and the more inventory you have moving, the higher number this will be and the better the sell-through rate will become. And then, you want to be basically between 2 and 7 of the score because you are dividing it by, total inventory units average. And again, you can go through the help page later to go more detailed on it. Stranded inventory percentage. Now, this only really will affect a few of you. Stranded inventory is what happens when you have products that are either restricted or became restricted after you sent it to Amazon. They are there if they're unfulfillable inventory or they're damaged and they can't be sold as new anymore. Amazon deems them ineligible to be sold. They go in there if you are missing your price when you list the product. So if you use third-party software to list inventory or if Seller Central's database is having maintenance issues and you try to add products and it doesn't take the price that you're going to sell it for, it'll go to stranded inventory. So it's pretty easy to fix most stranded inventory. You either just update the price or recall the inventory that's restricted, or you open up a case to see if Amazon can fix the listing if it's there in error. But either way, this shouldn't affect you too drastically. I also believe that this is one of the lower weighted parts of this inventory performance index. And then we have your in-stock rate. So the way they do your in-stock rate is percentage of time your replenishable FBA products have been in stock for the last 30 days, weighted by the number of units sold in the last 60 days. So that's how they calculate it. So if you click and show more details, they show you your estimated FBA lost sales in the last 30 days based on what items they think you should restock based on the selling performance of those products. Now this is unfair because as many people that are selling on Amazon, they don't have a reliable supply for the inventory they purchase. So it seems like Amazon is actually penalizing you for this, for items that they want you to restock, but you can't do that. So if you're doing retail arbitrage and online arbitrage and they say, hey, this item sold 3 of them in the last 30 days or maybe 6 in the last 30 days, you should restock 20 of these, but you don't have, the store you got it from doesn't have them anymore. This is affecting your percentage. Because you can't restock this, they're counting this as a loss in sale, which affects your IPI score. So what Amazon has told me, if you click on restock today, it'll take you to basically the next tab here, restock inventory, and they'll show you, they'll show you the recommended order quantity, when you should restock it by, your selling price, the number of units sold in the last 30 days, and you can use this as a guide for replenishment. Now, if you want to lower your score, or rather raise the percentage and lower lower the negative or raise the positive, whatever you want to call it, you can hide products for the recommendations. And this is what Amazon recommended to me to do to increase that performance score for that item. So if you know these items, you cannot restock these. You had only one of them in stock. You can only buy one of them at a time. Stock is no longer gone. You can check those items, click on Action Unselected, and hide from recommendation. And that will lower this recommended number, which should in turn also raise your performance score in that category because it's not comparing it against their recommendations anymore. So it's a bit buggy. I haven't really seen this affect or change too much, and I've been editing our listings and changing our numbers, and I've been seeing them going up and down, but it's not so reliable yet. It's still such a new thing that Amazon rolled out. It doesn't exactly work so clearly. But the main takeaway here is that as long as you're above 350, obviously you want it to be higher, but as long as you're above 350, it's not going to affect your storage limits. If you're below, if you're in the red, then you want to see if you can take these actions and see if you can reduce your excess inventory, hide the other items, or try to restock the other items if you can, and follow all the recommendations. You can delete the listings as well from Seller Central, and it'll also get rid of it. Yeah. You don't have to just hide it. Yeah, you can delete the listings as well. Yeah. Yeah. And I think that's the reason why Amazon rolled this out, is because a lot of people, they have their inventory from years ago just in their database and they don't clean it out. And it's recommended you remove all your older listings and just keep a clean, fresh database for all your new products. So if you know there's products you're definitely not going to replenish, or you can't get anymore, you might as well just delete them from your inventory. And you can archive them as well if you need to in the Manage FBA inventory portion, but deleting them should do the trick. If it doesn't, you can go back to that suggestions and hide those items as well if you need to. But like I said, it's still so new, and I don't know exactly how it affects any other metrics at the moment. I mean, it may be worth taking the tour. I glanced through it because I know Amazon is just like, oh, here's this thing, and this is it, and they don't really give you more information. And I've read a lot of forums and FAQs about this, and people are like, what does this mean? When will Amazon release the information about this? But yeah, their big reminder here is that inventory storage limits take effect on July 1st. So based on your score, if it's below 350, they'll limit your storage. But everything else so far seems like it's not going to affect anything so drastically. No. So the way it's hiding is just their recommendation. So this restock inventory page that I got to from clicking on that portion, they're saying you've sold 8 of these in the last 30 days. You have 4 days left in stock. You have 1 unit in stock. You should buy 15 of them. If you know that you cannot buy this ever again, you can check this and hide the recommendation. Not you're hiding the listing. It's still going to be active if you have inventory in stock. It's just telling Amazon, hey, I can't get this anymore. Don't count this against my in-stock rate because I can't buy this anymore. So it's not that I should be restocking it, it's that I can't restock it.
And what is the process of hiding the recommendation?
It's just you click on the checkbox, click here, and hide recommendation. You can do it in a bulk upload. I'm not going to go over that though. It affects this performance score supposedly.
Oh, so
This came out.
It's like the performance score is affected by unhidden items.
Correct. Yeah, so that's based on this in-stock rate, and this is based on what they think you should restock. This came out like 2 months ago. This is super new. Yeah, it doesn't exactly reflect all the changes so well, and because your inventory for most people is changing on a daily basis, it's still in flux.
So it's not high inventory, it's high tech.
No, yeah, exactly. It's not going to remove the inventory. Plus, the good thing about this also is that they'll give you restock suggestions for items you don't have in stock anymore. Like these items have sold out. They sold well this last month. They'll say buy more of them, but if you don't have the supply, hiding them doesn't really do anything anyway because they're not in stock. It's just telling Amazon, I don't want these in my recommendations because I can't get them, so don't count this against me. But again, like it's so new, and I don't really know exactly how much more this affects. I mean, they have their help pages and whatnot, but it doesn't seem like it's so drastic in my opinion. Could be wrong, but you know, I've even spoken to Amazon a few times. They haven't gone through all the training for all their reps to know about this, just because you know they obviously have different departments for different different aspects of the Seller Central side. But I've talked to people that had like, oh, I have no idea. Let me transfer you over to this other department. And that person's like, oh yeah, that's new. Let me give you to this other person. It's like, okay, well, most people don't know about it. Yeah, because they have thousands of people working for Amazon, just all over the country, all over the world. So not everyone gets the same training, and the lower level employees are not equipped to handle it. They'll have like the help page in front of you, and they can give you like scripted answers and things like that, but that doesn't always help with any nuance or any realistic ways of fixing anything. Yeah, any other questions regarding this? Like, I think this is on the schedule for like 30 minutes, but I don't think we need a whole 30 minutes on this because Amazon will just give you what you should do to fix it, but just look out to make sure you're in the green. It may be on this help page. I'm just skimming through it. I'm not sure how they calculate. It may be an account level. It may be based on, you know, because newer sellers already have a storage limit, so it's not really going to affect you necessarily. But it's possible that, you know, if for people that have unlimited storage, like here, like we have unlimited storage. Let's say we were below 350, or this account was below 350. They would drop this down to a limited amount for the month, and you know, you can reduce inventory to go below that limit, but then you can't send more inventory to go above it because they'll restrict you from sending more products in on the shipment side. So there may be different tiers for what their limits are. I don't remember off the top of my head what those are, what those may be. Okay. Any other? Oh, we have some questions in the chat actually. Missed this. So if the number is low, like greater than 350. What impact will it have on the account? We'll put your risk to suspension. The number is in the top 10%. Does that help with winning? Yeah, less than 50. Okay. So I don't believe this actually affects the buy box percentage. I was speaking about this before. From what we know, it just affects your storage limits, which in turn will affect how much products you have at Amazon, which indirectly affects your buy box percentage on those overall account, but not on the product level. I don't believe it hurts your metrics in that way. At least if it does, Amazon hasn't released that information just yet. Or maybe if they did, it just hasn't been publicly released enough to that anyone knows about it. Just because there's so much unknown about this new program they came out with. But yeah, the numbers in the top 10%. Does that help with winning the buy box? I don't think it affects the buy box in any way, to my knowledge.